Hello and thank you for watching my Tool for 8 video tutorial. In this lecture I'm going to add this grid layout to our game field. And first I'd like to start by adding just one empty tile like this one in the corner. So I will go to Canvas, Panel, locate our game field, and I will right click and hit Create UI, Image. This image right now is too big. I can resize it and place it appropriately into the corner. Let it be our first image. I will go to our color picker and I will pick a color from this empty tile. So in the game view we can see that it looks pretty acceptable. One way of adding this grid of tiles to our game is we can actually go to hierarchy, press Ctrl D to duplicate this image, drag it aside from our first image, create another duplicate, then I can put the anchors manually and so on. But this approach is really inefficient because it will result in inconsistent spacing between our images. Most likely that when we get to another border of our game field we will have to make a lot of adjustments, and when we will add another rows and columns to our grid it will most likely become unmanageable, so we won't do that. I will hit delete, and we will need some kind of a system that will manage all the spacing and placing of our tiles for us, and Unity provides us with such an instrument. I can go to our game field and I will go to the lower part of the inspector to the button that says Add Component, and once I press this button there is this menu, and we are interested in this menu entry that's called Layout. Layout is a set of components that will help us organize our UI, and right now we are most interested in this component that's called Grid Layout Group. So once I hit Grid Layout Group we can see that our image has become bigger, precisely 100 pixels by 100 pixels. It has happened because this component Grid Layout Group has completely taken over all the placing and sizing of the child game objects of our game field. So right now if I start duplicating this image by hitting Ctrl D, it will add new images that will all be sized 100 by 100 pixels. Now I can go to our Grid Layout Group and play with the settings a little bit. So we can see that 100 by 100 is too big for us, so I will probably set it to about 40 by 40 pixels, like this, and I will add some spacing between the tiles. So let's add, say, 5 pixels of spacing in each direction, and there is also this padding option, so we can hit on that and maximize it, and I can add 5 pixels of padding in each direction and minimize that. And the last thing that I can do is I can set our constraint option from flexible to fixed column count, because we know how many columns we will have, and set it to 4. And now if I continue duplicating our images by hitting Ctrl D, this Grid Layout Group will just organize our images in this grid. I think I will have to change the size of our cells from 40 to, for example, 35, and I'll hit 35 over here. Actually, now we can see the biggest problem with our Grid Layout Group is that we have to set all the cell sizes manually. So if I will go to our panel and try to resize it, like we did in the previous lecture, we see that all the UI that we have designed ourselves resizes properly, but these cells that are organized by our Grid Layout Group script, they remain of the same size, and actually there is nothing that we can do about it. So I will shrink our panel back and zoom in, and in the next lecture we will try to solve this problem to make our tiles stretch by using this Auto Grid Layout script that was included into the resources folder. And effectively what this script will do is it will apply stretching to all the child objects of our game field. So by the end of our next lecture we will have our grid layout on the game field fully functional. Thank you for watching, and till next lecture.